the way they used to search you was they ran a wand over your little room and you took articles of clothing off until they found out why the wand was going off. They take your shoes off and sniff your shoes, that sort of thing. What they do now is more of a pat down kind of thing, where they actually will touch you in everywhere but your private areas, and they will grab your clothes like this and pull, grab and pull as they move down your entire body. They'll do inside your thighs, they'll do your entire legs. It is a very invasive sort of search, but it is also very thorough. If you have something on you, they will find it by doing this search.
Well, I think what I was throwing out there is, even if they're just doing randoms like they always have, I don't think it's going to extend the weight of the line at all. If they're doing the same thing they've always done.
Well, the scanner is in the line area, so it is possible that it could make it longer because it'll be more of a distraction. Before you took you out, they took you to a little room. It wasn't right there in front of everybody, which is one of the issues that I've heard in my research for this that people have with it, is that it's not only is it demeaning, it's demeaning in public.
How are they able to do
Well,
that?
That would actually make the weight shorter.
Wouldn't that be like a HIPAA
It's
violation?
gonna take you out of
Someone
line.
looking at your X-ray? To me, that sounds like a HIPAA violation.
What's not really an X-ray?
If they're seeing something medical,
The
That's
Patriot Act basically allows them to do whatever they damn want.
no, super. So HIPAA means something now.
Well, the scary
In
part,
the
I
name of
think,
national
In the
security.
name of national security.
I think what a lot of people are afraid of with the search is, or the scan, is now there's someone, we don't know who they are, someone who's supposedly been trained and is a professional, sitting in a room viewing these pictures of naked people. And what's preventing them from copying that, taking a picture of that or whatever, and posting in places where, you know, now you have to worry about that. If you go to the doctor, they're taking x-rays or pictures of certain sections of your body, but this is a full body. They can see your face, they can see everything about you.
Yeah, and the public gets to see it too.
Yeah.
And
There's already been
iPhones, people
cases.
could be taking it
There's
without
already
your
been
permission.
cases of those pictures being released on the internet. So
Yeah.
Oh my.
those
People
fears
with
are warranted.
iPhones, these ones will have photo.
So confidentiality
The
would be an
news.
issue.
Yeah, the
News sites do.
confidentiality.
So
Yeah, the news sites get it. They've been, you know, as I was looking into this on the internet, which is the main resourcing tool that I have available to me, you can go find these pictures. They are out there, so I would say that's a valid point. The confidentiality of your medical records and or your body being out and available to people. So that's a personal freedom one would be just pictures. And then
It's not only a personal invasion, it's a privacy invasion.
Mm-hmm.
it's a little personal privacy invasion.
Then again, no
Well,
one's
no, I mean,
forcing you to fly.
Personal as in
Yeah,
your
okay.
person.
there's that.
So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
before
No one's
I could
forcing you to
fly
fly,
on
okay,
No,
that,
so-
no one's forcing you to fly. I mean,
Yeah.
in most cases, recreational flying, there are other methods, you know, for travel, at least in the continental United States. So that's one of the arguments that proponents for it say as well. You know, just like owning a car, you're required to have insurance when you have a car, but no one's holding a gun to your saying you have to buy a car. So
I did hear something about that on the news where they were saying, I think it was Muslim women were trying to get an exemption from it because of
That's
religious preference. They said, you know, they wanted them to only search their head area and not pat down or do anything about the bottom half of their body because they had the robes on and everything. And they said absolutely not, no religious exemption from that. Everyone has to.
Isn't that profiling?
it would be
I'm serious.
it would be profiling if you gave that exemption. In a sense, reverse profiling, reverse discrimination. Right?
And what prevents other people from putting on a
That's
big
my
robe and
point.
going in? Yeah, so that's why they did not
I
allow
can
that
become a
exemption.
religion of one and say, I fly naked.
Yeah. And I do have to say, one thing for searches is, you know, do I want to be on a plane with crazy people with knives and guns? No. So I think it's good that we do need to have some sort of searching in place, you know, to get on a plane, because you're pretty much stuck with these people once you get on it.
But do you think that it should be as invasive as it is? Or can be if you are randomly selected? Is that too far?
I don't know.
Maybe I have personal space issues and I don't want people touching me.
Have
Well,
they
Sounding
contacted
opposite, I don't care if people touch me. So
Well, what happens the first time someone puts C4 in a body cavity, which happened in Saudi Arabia last year? They do that on an airplane, all of a sudden you have to search everybody's body cavities. 'Cause they're searching
Now do we
at
have to have oral exams? It just seems like, okay, because someone detonated a shoe bomb, now I have to check shoes.
Exactly.
Because somebody, you know, did all these other, because, you know, somebody had, you know, plastic explosive in their underpants, now we have to do the full body scans, okay? somebody has something stuck in their throat like a knife, now we have to
That's
take an
gonna cost
oral
us.
X-ray of. It just seems it's very reactive instead of a proactive searching method. I know I'm not an expert in other countries and how they do the security checks, but for instance, Israel is probably one of the most targeted countries for terrorists to try to set off devices or bombs or cause harm to those people. Just the political situation of the day there, and what they do, or what the Israeli security does, is just 100% actually inspection or actual talk and make contact with each individual that flies, and they have the expertise to determine whether or not psychologically or mentally that these person may be unstable. In addition to the checks, they don't do these full body scans unless they're absolutely needed. And you could argue that, well, there are a lot more airports here in the U.S., but there are several busy airports in Israel, and they're very efficient in the methods that they do in tracking down suspected terrorists or people that would cause harm. So maybe it's enhanced search and safety is needed, but doing more interviewing people rather than a nondescript full body cavity scan might be a better way to go about it, making it even more selective rather than 100% or whatnot. So I think there are other security systems that can be looked at other than just this blanket one.
So you're saying no?
I'm saying no to
Are we
the.
questioning the effectiveness? Is that what you're
Yes,
questioning?
I'm questioning the
Okay.
effectiveness. I think there's a better way to do it rather than just a blanket, let's just check them in the x-ray, because again, to the point you made before about the pilots, the only thing someone needs is to be strong enough or have the mental capacity to, bring down a plane, or to, force their way into a cockpit and to bring a plane down. They could be perfectly clean.
Right.
They could be wearing a suit and tie, speak very well, but they're just determined that they're going to bring this plane down one way or another, and they may have know how to do that. And no physical spec is going to check that, but maybe just an interview by a trained professional might be able to catch certain telltale signs that, hey, this person's story doesn't check out, or why is it only one-way ticket? Just other signs. So.
Just like Marianne was saying about, the cavity, putting a bomb in,
Yeah.
you're not gonna find that
Right.
physically, so you have to come up with another search. Maybe it would be a good idea for the US to look at other countries and see what measures they have in place and which ones are actually working, instead of coming up with our own that just don't seem to be working very well at all.
Well, the full body scan, when they do the scan, does appear to see on the internet. I mean, I have to look at it some more. I'm sorry I don't have that information for you guys, but it does seem to be able to see in the body cavity somewhat. So if you had a body cavity stuffed full of C4, they'd see it.
Interesting.
Well,
Maybe
you'd have to have some way to set it off.
Well, yeah, that's true. You'd have to have some way to set
Well,
it
I mean,
off.
a detonator would
The
be
detonator
hot.
would be in there possibly, or a detonator, something, they can see in there to a degree, so
Right.
that search thing. Now, when they do the other search, the less invasive search, there's obviously no way to check that without actually looking. So, which is more invasive even than the search that they're currently doing. But I wrote a couple things down, I just wanna keep you guys updated on the board. One, I wrote down for personal freedom is that the searches are ineffective. And I wrote possible, things to do for searchers to be psychological profiles. Now, my question to everyone here is, David talked a lot about a psychological profile. Does anyone here think that is something invasive to do to someone? To force them to take a psychological profile before they can fly a plane?
No, I don't.
I think it's less invasive than doing it. Those kind of things, the way I understand, for instance, his example, the Israelis, is you are contacted before you even get to the airport. It is not done in public.
Okay, so
They don't interview as you get on the plane. This is all done beforehand, and
In
you are
privacy.
certified before you even go there. It is a process in days before, not hours or minutes. You're not standing in a line. A lot of this is done beforehand, and then you're allowed to get on the plane. And this sort of goes back to well, you don't really have to fly. If you're going from here to California, you can drive, you can take the train, you can walk. and nobody is gonna search you. Nobody is going to psychologically profile you necessarily. So,
Well, this is the Transportation Security Administration. If
Right,
they're
that's
serving
their
the right
job.
to search you for airplanes, they can do it for any other mode of transportation that crosses state lines or gets to a federal monument or building. They can say, well, if you wanna come to court and bring a grievance against the government, you have to submit to this search first. I mean, where's the line here? They're not saying that.
well,
They're not saying this
I'm not
line
saying
won't
it's right
cross.
at all, I'm just saying that there are alternatives, you don't have to get on a plane. And most of this is being done, I mean, I cannot tell you, other than the customs people and all the traveling that I've done in the last 10 years in the United States, I have not seen naturalization and immigration and customs stops in states near borders with other countries, Mexico and Canada. But have I seen anybody just being stopped on the highway to see if they're psychologically fit or maybe carrying a weapon? Or no, you don't see that. I don't know.
Well, the
that any
Times
of us
Square
have.
bomber was gonna use a vehicle to blow up Times Square.
Sure.
There was no airplane